Wow, that was a stressful start. So we had some technical issues, guys. I'm very sorry to keep you waiting. Here are the technical issues. The technical issues are cats chewing wires. Little bastards. I bought that only 2 days ago. I didn't think cats did that. Okay, so this live is going to be a bit different to normal. As you can see, we have a beautiful, feminine, divine one on the screen. I don't know who this is. We're going to find out who this is. I know she's called Helen. I know she's from Australia. That's about it. We've shared 3 emails, and straight away I was just like, let's do a video together. You sound cool. So we're not going to be responding to comments like I usually do on live streams. Of course, super chats will be acknowledged. They may be woven in if they aid the live stream, but obviously my intention here is to get to know Helen more than anything else. All super chats will be responded to at the end if they're not responded to in real time. We're learning. Helen, what you doing here? Who are you? Why have you emailed me? What's going on?
So actually I'm from Canada.
You're from Canada. Sorry.
Yeah.
So okay. I don't know anything. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let Helen tell you her story.
I'm getting a lot of echo though when I'm talking. I don't know how to turn that off or whatever, but.
Okay, neither do I, because I'm a crap YouTuber.
All right, fuck it.
Can you help us? How does Helen sound to you? Is it affecting you, Helen? Can you do this with that echo?
I'll try, but I may be a little bit distracted, just so you know. But that's okay. Of course.
Let's just check from the chat point of view that they can hear us fine. No echo here. I think we're good. So have I made Australia up? Is there some link to Australia?
Not from me.
Forget Australia. You just tell your story.
Forget Australia. Okay, so yeah, the reason why I wanted to reach out to you, or the reason why I did, was because you align very much with my mindset, not only with the travel, but also with being conscious. And so I don't know if you want to touch on any of that in this video. I can stick just to travel if you like.
No, I have no intentions or expectations whatsoever. I just want this to flow into wherever it's meant to flow to. So I imagine you're going to tell us your travel stories, why any issues you see with Canada, but also your spiritual journey, just whatever flows, Helen. Like, let's start with, so you got in touch with me because, conscious connection?
Yes, because I've been what, a lot of people call awake, I guess, for a very, very long time. And it's always kind of put a wedge between me and other people. And so I've never really had a lot of friends. I tend to keep people at a distance because we're just not on the same, we're not in the same lane, right? And so when I heard you, and I watched quite a few of your videos, it felt nice for me because you're someone that I could actually communicate with on that level. And so I wanted to reach out just, because at least for myself, I found it very difficult to have people to talk to, have, people that, you could be friends with or whatever, not thinking that, I'm going to be your friend or anything, but, just wanted to reach out just to say thank you for what you're doing, because I do believe that there's probably a lot of people like me who are kind of isolated, right? And the reason why I wanted to kind of touch on that is because it had a major impact in, the travel that I've done over the last few years, particularly, right? So I've gone down every rabbit hole, since the 90s, really. And lots and lots of research. So when this whole COVID nonsense started, it was pretty apparent to me right away that, I'm side-eyeing everything because I'm just like, here we go. I'd heard previously, about the underground cities and all this kind of stuff and whatever. And so I always thought, that'll come into play at some point, maybe not in my lifetime. But when COVID started, I was like, game on, here we go, right? This is what's happening. They're going to just create absolute chaos up here for us. And they're all going to be down there, sipping cocktails and fucking laughing at us, right? Sorry if I'm swearing, but All right. So, anyways, that's kind of my mindset during that whole COVID thing. And then at the same time, of course, I live in Canada, unfortunately. And we had, tyrannical Trudeau, who was, on a good
Who's a
day,
lesbian now? Sorry, carry on.
right? Castro's son. So, anyways, yeah, it just got like absolutely ridiculous here, right at the onset of it. Kind of like it was designed, right? So, anyways, I had just built myself a house. Like 2 years prior, I was working as a paralegal in the oil and gas industry, and I was doing quite well on my own. And then this shit show happens. So it just got so bad so fast in Canada. I don't know what it was like in the UK, but it was crazy here. And so, Trudeau's on TV every other day calling us like, drebs of society and, we're killing people and all of this kind of stuff. And I refuse to wear a mask. I refuse to social distance and all of that nonsense. And I was working from home and it got to the point where I was like, I'd go get groceries like once every 2 weeks because I just couldn't deal with the fucking mask holes at the grocery store, and not the people that worked there, but the people who were coming in and like, sorry, my hand's getting tired. But the people who were coming in to like buy groceries. And I would say to them, like maybe you should be home in your basement instead of being in a grocery store during this crazy time, right? But anyways, one day I went to go to the mailbox and no one was out. I made a point that like no one was on the streets. It was super quiet. And I got like halfway to my mailbox, which was like a block away, and some a-hole is yelling out their window, "I hope you die."
Oh
I
my
was,
God.
yeah. And I was just
Crazy.
like,
And these are the loving ones. These are the caring ones. The left.
yeah, yeah, right. So, and then right after that, there's a Costco that was, about, I would say like maybe a 5-minute drive from my house at the time. And somebody went in there without a mask and ended up getting like hogtied by the police and carried out. And I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And I was getting, harassed at work. Take the jab. Helen, why don't you take the jab? Like knocking on my
But you
my
were working
office
from home
window.
and they still wanted you to take the jab.
Yeah. So, but that happened while we were still at the office before the jabs came out and everybody was like lining up and getting ready, right? And
Right.
so we were told essentially, you have to take the jab, blah, blah, right? Well, I'm not one of these people that believes you have to do anything. So I
You.
was like, no, I'm not doing it. So there was me and I think like one other person in the office that refused. And it was terrible. Like it was absolutely terrible. We were treated like the most horrific people in the world, right? But anyways, I
So
digress.
did they isolate you in a conspiracy corner?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was open knowledge that myself and this other person weren't jabbed. It was talked about openly by everyone, and that we were essentially like infecting everyone, kind of thing. So then the jab started. We had been working from home prior to that, but then once the jab started, we were allowed to like come back, kind of thing. And
Mm.
but I had to like stay in my office. I wasn't allowed to leave my office.
So they made special rules for you.
Yeah, it was bad. So,
Talk about
anyways,
discrimination from the utopian
yeah.
liberals.
But it was funny because the people that got jabbed, there were like quite a few times where like the next week I would be like, oh, how come so and so is not in today? Oh, they got COVID. And I'm like, what? Like, how did they get COVID?
There seems to be some cognitive dissonance there, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I never had COVID. So I was just like, okay, like, how do you, all right, whatever. So, anyways, I made my plan because then they were forcing the boosters. So now not only was I expected to get one, I was expected to get two.
Was there any issues with your Was your employment under threat? Your income under threat? Were they threatening you with that? As in the sack?
Um, I think it was going there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say 100% at that point. No, it was very difficult to be there. Let's say that.
They basically made it so you would, no self-respecting individual would ever put up with that, and you were always going to have to quit.
Yeah, and this happened over, it was actually quite a short period of time, but it felt like forever, right? When you're in the middle of that shit show. So anyways, I ended up making the decision, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm going to give up my job. It was a good job. I made a lot of money. Not like, I wasn't living the high life, but I was doing well for
Yeah.
a single woman on her own to be able to like build a brand new house. I did quite well.
Yeah.
So anyways, I decided nothing was worth my health because, what are you going to do if you're fucked up? Well, you can't work anyway. So, you know, what was the point? So I just
Absolutely. Yeah.
decided, yeah, so I decided I was going to leave. But at this time, this is when Trudeau was, he was enlisting all the brown shirts in the city to go around and report on their neighbors and their friends and their family, Yeah, it was really bad. So
It's so bad,
anyways,
isn't it?
I decided I was going to leave. So then it was at the point where it's like, okay, if you want to get on a plane, well, you have to get jabbed, right? So I was like, there's got to be another way out of this country. And I wanted to take my vehicle. I started looking at, groups on social media and stuff like that. And a lot of people were going to Mexico because Mexico was free, freedom, right? So I decided, okay, I'm going to go to Mexico. But I need to get out of this country and I need my vehicle with me because I didn't want to get stuck somewhere and then not be able to leave because I didn't take a shot, right? So I looked into a lot of different ways, and there was this company, I'm not going to name the company, but they were in Boundary Bay, British Columbia. So I live in Alberta. I don't know how long the drive was, maybe like 14, 16 hours, something like this. So I decided I was going to charter a small plane to get out of the country. And they did,
Well,
it's a
sorry, I
little,
just nodded to that. Fuck me, that's massive. Wow, this is proper refugee escape stuff. I love how this crazy time activated people like you and I to go to extreme measures to honor ourselves. That's incredible. You chartered
yeah,
a plane. Can you tell us how
yeah.
much all of that?
Well, wait, there's more. So I still had to get my truck with my belongings that I didn't sell across the border. So not only did I charter a
So hang on,
small,
sorry,
like a,
I had a bit of issue with sound, so I missed a bit. Where are you trying to get to?
so the charter plane, the little Cessna, I think it's a Cessna. It's like a four-seater. I think that's what they're called. Anyways, it flew into Bellingham, Washington.
So you're trying to
From,
get to America. So
yes.
So you were just like, it's bad here, it's bad in America, but it's better in America. I'll go there. That was your first port of call, and you were trying to get your
Yes.
belongings to set up like a long-term home in America. Is that right?
Not in America. I was heading to Mexico, but I
So
needed to
why
get
did you need your belongings?
because I was leaving Canada and driving to Mexico. So I needed things like changes of clothing. I needed, stuff for work.
Yeah.
I'm also, yeah. So aside from
Hang
being,
on, I'm confused. You said you chartered a plane. I thought now you're saying you were driving to Mexico.
yeah, you didn't let me finish.
Sorry. I had an issue with the sound, and I'm also crap at this, and I have main character syndrome. Please speak.
It's okay. So yeah, the plane was for me, but then I hired a flatbed tow truck driver to meet me at the airport in British Columbia in Boundary Bay to haul my truck and most of my possessions that were in it across the border and meet me at the airport in Bellingham, Washington. That's what I
Okay.
did. And so I show up there, the plane's there for me. I load up a lot of my stuff in the plane. I was trying to shove in as much as possible because I didn't know like what would happen with my truck at the border with customs, right? If they were going to have a conniption fit that they see this truck just piled with stuff, right? So anyways, I flew across not knowing if I was going to be okay on the other side, if I was going to get cleared to, you know, travel in the US or whatever, because again, I'm not jabbed, no
Yeah,
mask and all of that.
because
Go ahead.
officially the US was requiring jabs to enter the country, right?
I don't remember at that time when I went. I think they did maybe later, but I don't know 100%. But I
And
do
by
know.
charter, can I just ask just one
Yep.
quick question? And by chartering the aircraft, that meant you bypassed the people on the desk saying wear a mask, where's your jab, and all that. Is that right? I mean, you still had to go through customs, presumably.
Yes. So I didn't need to go through customs going into like at Canada's side, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but in the US, I had to meet like there was a customs office at that airport in
And how did
Bellingham,
that go?
Washington. It went fine. I had no
Yeah,
issues.
beautiful.
And I was so happy. But I was, to be honest, I was literally shaking as we were like touching down because
I
I
bet.
was so scared. Because I was thinking,
Yeah,
like,
bless you.
okay, am I going to land and my truck's not going to get across the border? Because then what am I going to do? Or am I going to get turned back and my truck's across the border? Like, I
Yeah,
don't
and then
know,
you've got no
right?
stuff.
Yeah. So it was a big gamble. Honestly, it was a huge gamble. But it,
Amazing.
yeah. So I cleared customs and everything was fine. I was like so happy. I can't even tell you. Like I literally got on the ground and I kissed the ground in Washington. I was so happy. And then I got the phone call from the tow truck driver and he's like, I'm going to be there in 20 minutes. I have your truck. I was like,
Wow.
oh my God. Yeah, so I did it. I got out of Canada. I was so
Well
freaking
done.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love, for me, what COVID did is it activated. You know, like, I think you'll resonate with this, but we'd gone down all the rabbit holes. We knew what was going on, but it kind of was a bit of a fairy tale. Like, yes, it was real and we knew it was real, but it was like in the distance, like, and yes, we saw it playing out as well, but it wasn't like, bam, this is really affecting us. And then suddenly COVID happened and we got activated and we started becoming courageous because we had to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know where this was going to go, but I just knew that I didn't want to be a part of it. Right. So I was so happy though when I got to the US that I like drove around the US for about 5 weeks, different states, all these different cities, because I'd been to the US quite a bit prior to. I worked in out of our Denver office some and things like that. So I really liked, you know, the US. And they were, to be honest, it was very, very free there at that time. Like I didn't feel.
Were you in red states or?
I was in the West, so some were red. Honestly, I don't know which ones were and which ones weren't.
So there must not have been a big difference, otherwise you would know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Colorado, which I love Colorado, it's a really nice state, but I think it's not so red now. But for
Oh yeah, it's
me,
very liberal.
yeah, Austin particularly, but
Portland's in Colorado, right?
no, that's in Oregon.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused. Sorry, yeah, forget that.
Yeah, that's okay. But for me, like personally, I'm like, I guess it's called apolitical. Like, I think they're all evil on both sides. I don't really, to me, they're like professional wrestlers. Like, you know, in front of the camera, they're all hating each other. And then behind the scenes, they're high fiving and
Absolutely,
doing shots,
absolutely.
right? Yeah.
But as
So,
part of that show, the red side, the right side looks better, and therefore some of their states can be nicer to live in. But yes, it's all a show, and they're still the bad guys, of course.
yeah, I mean, I think that there is some difference, but I think, you know, like with the red and the blue kind of thing, there is some difference.
Well, the difference is the show. The difference is
Yeah.
is manufactured,
Yeah.
which I know
So
you know.
yeah, they're appealing to one side, you know, like the big thing is to pit everyone against each other, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
exactly.
easier
Yeah.
to control. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then fear, right? I mean, that's what the whole COVID thing was. Like people will be on their knees so quickly if they have fear. So that's what was happening. So anyways, I traveled around, really loved it. I ended up crossing the border into Mexico in at Eagles Pass. So Eagles Pass is in Texas, and it borders the Mexican border town Piedras Negras. So that's where I crossed over. And I was nervous crossing into Mexico because number one, I hadn't done that before. My
Yeah.
vehicle was, yeah, my vehicle was completely loaded with stuff. And I didn't know, like, what was going to happen there. And I
And
rolled
the
up.
border towns are the dangerous towns, I understand.
Yeah, well, Eagles Pass is pretty nice. Piedras Negras is like, a different world. But so I rolled up to the border to cross into Mexico, and you drive in and there's like a red light. So I stop, and then like immediately it goes green, and I just drove on through. No one came out and
Wow.
talked to me. Nothing.
Amazing. I do think
So
that there's something around in that. I mean, I think this goes for our whole lives, but certainly in that time, what I experienced was if you were making aligned, sovereign, honoring decisions, the universe worked with you. So, like, I never had to
yeah.
wear a mask. I hugged more people in that time. Like, it was a very joyful time for me. And
Wow.
then what you're experiencing with the like getting straight through the customs, like, of course, like if you take aligned actions, it manifests.
Yeah, I mean it was amazing. But then, then I found myself in Mexico. I'd
What the
never been
fuck?
to, yeah, what the fuck? I've never been to Mexico before. All I knew is that there was a lot of expats there escaping COVID. And so I was like, all right, I'm in, let's go. So
Amazing.
yeah, so then I drove all through Mexico, which, as a single female is a bit treacherous,
Big deal.
let's say.
Big deal.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I ended up going to Huatuco, which is on the south coast, the southern coast. And it seemed like a nice enough place, but I'm a beach person. I like the water. So I went to the water, and I walked in and I was like up to my knees, and I got like this massive wave just hauled me into the sea.
Oh
And I was
no.
like, yeah. And that happened like three times. Like I tried to get out and it pulled me back in, and I just said, fuck this. I'm out of here, man. So I went, the next day I left and I drove to Playa del Carmen in the Caribbean. And that's where I ended up having my base.
Playa de Carmen. That's near Cancun, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I hated it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why you would choose it for ease because loads of tourists and stuff, and safe. But for me, just very commercial and tacky.
Yeah. I mean, number one, it was super expensive. And number
I'm back.
two, yeah, and number two, it was very it's a very scammy part of Mexico because of the tourism. And I'm not just talking about the locals. There were a lot of expats that were
Yeah, yeah,
taking advantage of other expats, right? So
absolutely, yeah.
yeah, but beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The Caribbean part is amazing. Like going through the Yucatan was amazing as well. But anyways, so I was
So at this
there.
point, Helen, are you thinking I'm living here for potentially my life? Like, is this a long term, or you're just in the moment reacting to what's happening in the moment, and you're not really holding it all lightly?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Beautiful.
Originally I was thinking, oh, maybe there's going to be some expat groups. We can start like a community together or something like that. But honestly, the only expat groups that I saw that were trying to do that were never successful because there was just too much infighting. Everybody
Yeah,
wanted to be the chief, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, yeah. So I was just like, no, you know, not into this. And then I considered going to like Peru and like all of these places because I could just drive, right? But then I was like, what kind of a shit show is that going to be? Having to like get visas to enter certain crossings, and like it was just a lot. And I was
It is a
thinking
lot.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was there for about 8 months, I think, in Playa del Carmen. I also lived in Puerto Aventuras and down by Tulum because I moved around. I just wasn't settled. Like I didn't like it. It was very noisy.
Yeah, isn't it?
I had a, I think you'll
I'm
appreciate
just going to close
this.
my door, Helen. 1 minute. There's people outside.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
So when I saw some of your videos, I have to say, I feel the same way about noise as you do and music. Like I cannot tolerate it. So I had
Yeah.
this I had a condo in Playa del Carmen. It was actually a nice condo, except for, the people around me. And my bedroom window faced the street. And across the street, there was some guy who had a house, and he would haul, like, I watched him after this happened, like probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 days in the week. I watched him haul his circular saw out to the street, like not onto the curb, but onto the street. And he would run that thing at like 4 in the morning.
Oh
And it
my
was,
God.
I know. And I literally almost lost my mind. Like I was just
Oh, I
like,
bet.
I have to get out of this crazy place. Like it was just
Yeah.
nonstop noise.
I think what did
Music.
me was all the speakers outside the shops and then and tied onto cars. Like, oh,
Yes, yes. And they're like, it's like dueling music. So you'd
awful
have like
music.
a strip of like Fifth Avenue, right? So you'd have a strip of like businesses, and everybody is blasting their music to like the top like level they can. And it's just an assault on your head. Like that's
It's
what it felt
awful,
like.
isn't it? It's such low
Yeah.
IQ behavior. It's low IQ behavior. And Cambodia is the first country I found where there's nowhere near as much music played. But when it is played, it's really nice music. It's the first
Yeah.
time, like Vietnam, Mexico, it was just awful. Such low vibrational crap.
I don't think I've ever discovered quiet, nice music. I really don't like music. I find it, I don't know if it's the what is it, 440 hertz, but it
Yeah,
just
I think that's a big
agitates
thing.
me.
I
Yeah.
think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think
So,
when you're sensitive and not numb, you can you can feel when it's not the right vibration, and that hertz change is big. But what about like classical music? Does that not do anything? Like just some nice piano music, for example.
I mean,
You're not into it.
I would
Not having
rather
it.
have silence, but yeah. So anyways, I decided I was going to leave because I was just sick of it there.
Yeah.
Um, and so I knew someone who had some land. So I just parked my vehicle, and I had a 72-liter backpack. So I threw stuff in that. And then I had a front backpack that I had my laptop in and, my passport and whatever. And then I wanted out of there. So I decided, well, I'm going to go, to Europe. So,
Wow, Europe was batshit. Although there
yeah,
were some parts maybe not. Go on. Where did you choose to go?
well, the reason why I wanted to go to Europe was because I'm a cheap traveler. I'm a frugal traveler, and so I like to country hop. And when you're trying to get across the pond, the cheapest way is to fly into. I ended up flying into Dublin for like $300 Canadian. Canadian money is like monopoly money. It's shit in the world, right? It's worth nothing. So everything is expensive for me. So
What's 300 bucks Canadian in American?
I would say it's probably about 250. No, I would say it's like maybe 220, 220 or
Okay.
something.
So about
Like,
180 pounds, 170 pounds, something like that.
yeah, but
Okay.
like your money, right? UK money is like worth double what Canadian is, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I flew into Dublin. I love cats, so that's so
Yeah,
cute.
but she's squawking into my microphone, man. Like, no, we're trying
I
to live
know.
stream.
I know. So anyways, I flew into Dublin, cruised around, Dublin and Galloway and like all these other places in Ireland.
Beautiful. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it
cool.
was. Not so much
Yeah.
Dublin, but Galloway is probably still gorgeous, but Ireland's been totally invaded now. But when you were there, it was still Ireland, right? Not Dublin,
Yeah.
maybe, but the rest.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I mean, I've been there a couple of times now, and I definitely noticed a difference. But when I was there that time, yeah, it was cool. And then so I went to Scotland. I went to Glasgow. I didn't actually get to Edinburgh, but I'm hoping to go soon.
gorgeous.
I know. So
Amazing.
I'm really into old world architecture,
Yeah, I know you
Tartaria.
are. I know you are.
So I was like, yeah, I
Edinburgh's full
wanted
of it.
to, yeah, I know. It was amazing. So anyways, so I was in Scotland, and then I decided I would fly to Jordan. So I went to Jordan. And I ended up being in Jordan for probably about 8 months. I wanted to go to Petra,
So this is 2021?
this would have been because I was already in Mexico for quite a while. So
Oh,
I would,
okay, yeah.
yeah. So I think this was more like 2022. Yeah,
So when you
2020.
left Mexico, had things calmed down a bit in terms of restrictions on flying and needing a jib jab and all that?
No, no.
So how did all that work?
So I don't know what I can say on here.
Well, you be the decision of what you want to share. You're the decider of what you want to share. From my point of view, I don't think there's nothing. Yeah, there's no restrictions from my point of view. Obviously, I'm happy to discuss breaking pointless laws, but obviously that's your decision to make whether you want to or not.
Yeah, let's just say that I met a doctor there in Mexico.
You got a nice piece of paper.
I could fly. Let's just say that
We can all work out what. Yeah, yeah. No, you don't need to say anymore. That's fine. Well done. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah. So anyways, Jordan. So I went to Jordan because I wanted to
Why
go
Jordan?
I wanted to go to Petra. I wanted to I'm big on like meltology and stuff like that. So
I've heard of it, but I know nothing about it. So has this got lots of old world architecture, or?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's pretty incredible, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, and fell in love with like Wadi Rum. I love the desert, and you know, I'd go out and stay overnight and stuff like that in the desert, which was wonderful.
Wow.
Aqaba was so nice. That's on the Red Sea. And yeah, so I started out in Amman, which is the capital, and it was a little bit too big for me, but it was all right. Very noisy, you know, like all places. But the people, you know, that I met were nice. No one was awake, but they were nice. And then I ended up going to Irbid, which is close to the Syrian border, and I really liked it there. Lots of history, so that was really
Wow.
interesting. Yeah, so I spent
How
about
is all the COVID stuff at this point? There's no lockdown there?
no, no,
No.
no.
Was there ever there? Were they not bothered, or did it just calm down, do you think?
I mean, I talked to some people about it, but honestly, on my travels, when I was just meeting kind of like random people, you know, as I would go out on my, you know, walk and stuff like that, I tried not to get into anything that was like political and stuff like
Okay,
that
yeah.
because, you know, you don't want problems,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah, so everyone just, you know, seemed nice. Although I did hear from a couple of people that, you know, they had issues after getting the, you know, jab. So yeah, it happened there too, you know, all of that, whatever
Yeah.
nonsense. So anyways, I was in Irbid, and I was like, I wanted to change. I wanted to go do something. So I was like, well, I'm really close to Egypt. I'm going to go to Egypt and just see the
Wow.
pyramids. Yeah. And so I flew to Egypt. I planned to be there for maybe like a week and a half. And I flew to Egypt. Didn't know anyone anywhere I went, honestly. And for the first 2 days in Egypt, like I landed in Cairo and it was a crazy place. And then I went to Giza, and I just got like a hotel apartment rental kind of thing for like a week and a half, I think it was. And then my plan was to go back to Jordan. And yeah, the first 2 days I was like, I kind of hate it here. Like it's really noisy and it's weird, and I don't know.
And am I right in thinking that Cairo is just concrete, like not a single tree?
You would think that, but it's not. That's not the case.
Oh, okay. I've seen
Yeah.
pictures from above and it looks horrendous.
Actually, it's beautiful. Like downtown Cairo.
Really?
Yeah, there's a
Wow.
lot of really amazing buildings. Like it's absolutely like
Okay.
amazing. Yeah,
Okay.
so after a few days, I was like starting to like Egypt a little bit. And then before the week was up, I was like, okay, I love it here. I'm gonna live here.
Sorry,
So
I got distracted by the chat. This is in Giza.
yeah, I was in
You
Giza.
you
Yeah.
decided you loved it and you wanted to stay there. Wow. So why is that? What did you love?
Um, well, the food was really good. I loved the proximity to just like amazing historical things, you know, like not only the pyramids of Giza, but like Saqqara and Memphis. They have like just like amazing things. And so I decided I was going to stay. So I went back to Jordan, got the rest of my stuff. And then while I was in Jordan, I was like, well, I have friends that I'd met in Mexico from Denmark, and they moved back to Denmark. So I'm going to go to Denmark and visit them. So I did. And then, so I was in Denmark for a bit.
Hang on. I want to ask a couple more questions about Egypt. If we're moving on from Egypt, I want to ask a couple more questions about Egypt.
Okay.
So what are the people like?
Um, so let me just tell you this then. So
Okay.
I ended up going back to Egypt, and I lived there for 3 years until I came back to Canada. So that's how much
Wow.
I liked
Okay.
Egypt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
carry on with your story the way you were going then, because it's going to come back to Egypt anyway.
yeah. So whatever. It doesn't matter. I
No,
traveled
you're in
around
Denmark. Carry on. You're in Denmark.
Denmark, then, you know, Italy and like just a
Denmark's
few.
boring as hell, isn't it?
Well, I went there to see my friends. So that was nice. Right. But it was
But nothing happens in
expensive.
Denmark.
Well, I was in Copenhagen, so probably a bit more there than maybe a smaller place. I don't know, but it was beautiful. I mean, you know,
Yeah, I
but
like Copenhagen. Copenhagen's got that cool hippie. Well, obviously it's liberal and retarded, but you know, at the time I thought it was cool. But Krishna or Christiana or there's an area where basically they don't police it, and it's.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I went there. I went there.
I mean, it
Yeah,
was amazing when I went there, but obviously, really, it will be Antifa now. But yeah, a really interesting place.
yeah. So yeah, I think there's a lot of drugs in that
Oh,
area.
massive,
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I spent some time down in there, and there's like it's beautiful by the water, and there's like
Yeah,
really
it's
cool,
gorgeous.
yeah, really cool like houses that people have kind of in the woods, just randomly. Like that was neat. I really liked it. Yeah, I liked Copenhagen, but yeah, it wasn't for me like to live there, right? So,
Very
anyways,
refreshed.
yeah, so I went to a few more countries, no big deal, who cares? And then I went back to Egypt. So I lived in Giza for like the year, and then 2 years I lived in Hurghada on the Red Sea.
I bet you
So
never thought when you left Canada that you were going to end up living in Egypt.
yeah, right?
Wow, I love how it unfolds. So sorry, yeah, and a year and a half, and then
A year in Giza and 2 years in Hurghada. Yeah. But in the time that I did live there, like when my visa would expire, because I would get like a resident visa or whatever it's called for like a year. For the first year, I did that. And then I ended up going back to Mexico partway through and driving my truck back to Canada. So yeah, that was a shit show. But anyways,
well, I want to ask more about that in a minute. But my understanding is, and it's purely based on what I've heard on YouTube,
yeah,
is that the people in Egypt aren't very friendly and it's not very safe for women. Is that not your experience?
not at all. Not at
Wow,
all.
great. Tell us about your experience.
Yeah, so I loved Egypt. The people were always very, very nice to me. I mean,
Fantastic.
I did take lessons and learned quite a bit of Arabic. I'd been in Bahrain previously, and so picked up quite a bit of Arabic there, and then in Jordan, but it's all different dialects, right? So
Right.
yeah, so some words can kind of carry over, some can't, you know, whatever. So Egyptian Arabic is quite a bit different. So, but I made those efforts, right? So when I can speak Arabic to someone, that definitely opens things up a bit more.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not just, you know, I'm not just a tourist or something, like, and I'm a Soraya, like I'm Egyptian, right? Like, so, everything was good in that sense. And I worked, right? So maybe I shouldn't say that, but I did like, contract work, online and stuff. So,
Oh,
but
so
I'm
you were
also,
able to generate an income while you were out there. Great.
yeah, yeah. Same in Mexico. Like I'm also a medical massage therapist and holistic practitioner. I've been doing that for about 15 years. Um,
Nice.
I had the two careers, so it worked out really well for me because I could take, some contract work online, but then also, I did a lot of work. I treat injuries, PTSD, cancer, post-cancer,
Amazing.
post-mastectomy patients, stuff like that. So I had sources for income, right? And I worked a lot with the expats, because my training in Canada is pretty intense. So it's a different than somebody taking a weekend class, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, of course. Yeah,
Or massaging on a beach in Mexico, right? So
yeah.
yeah. So I did okay, and was able to support myself. That being said, I did, go through a lot of my savings, but honestly, it was worth it. I mean, I wouldn't
Of
trade
course.
that any of that, right?
So how much did you grow in this 4 year period? I mean, speak into that, what it did for you and how how it was so worth spending that money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't in Canada for the crazy COVID shit. I remember sitting on a beach, in Egypt, and I was surrounded by people, like literally surrounded, like it was so busy. And then I saw my friend in Canada sent me like a news thing where they had like, there was, a group of teenage boys who were playing ice hockey outside on a lake, right? And the police came and like tasered one
Oh
of them because they were
God,
not they were not social distancing.
it's
So
just crazy, isn't it?
I mean, when you look at it, right, and like the freedom that you have,
Yeah,
and that was going back to what you asked me before about Egypt. One of the biggest things I think is that you have autonomy in Egypt, right? So medical autonomy. You can do pretty much whatever you want in Egypt. I mean, I'm not talking about committing criminal acts and things
no,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like, and
Common
nobody,
law basically. They have common sense laws, and if you don't break those, then you're fine.
yeah, I mean, people drive around there with their kids in the trunk of their vehicle, and the trunk is up, and the kids are half hanging out, and they're playing and laughing, and I mean, I personally probably wouldn't do that, but
But
that's
you're
their,
glad that people can do that.
yes, yes.
Because the other side of that is what we have in Canada and England.
Yes, exactly. And then, it always sucked because during my travels, like people would ask, obviously, where are you from? And I would just cringe because I I don't hate Canada. I hate what is being done to it
Yeah,
and what it is now. Like the
yeah,
country is so it's in a death spiral, and it's like so
it's
many people.
embarrassing. It's
It is a
embarrassing. I'm
it
still
is
proud to be
embarrassing.
English, but to be honest, how I look at Canada, I would, and obviously this is just a potential projection. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been 4 times. I have very little respect for Canada and Canadians. Not so much Canadians, more Canada, as in like. So all the stuff that you hate about Canada applies to England as well in terms of the current state, but England has got this incredible history. Whereas I just feel like Canada's always just been a bitch to America and then has gone super liberal. Like at least we once were like cool.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I
what I'm saying is, if I was from Canada, I would feel that as well a little bit, just because of what I just said. And I'm not saying that's true. Obviously, you can
I
say what you think.
I can't argue with you. I wouldn't
Yeah,
argue with you. I agree,
yeah.
right? I mean,
I
the,
feel like Canadians don't have. Obviously, I'm generalising. Obviously, there's some like you that do, but Canadians don't stand for anything. They don't. They're so liberal.
yeah,
They're so conditioned. Like they don't
yeah.
have any backbone.
I mean, yeah, they're on their knees instantly,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it's. I mean, I believe, and maybe you don't. I don't know, but I believe that this has been going on for hundreds of years. And
Since
it's
the
just,
Egyptian times, I think.
it's like a slow burn, or like boiling frog syndrome in Canada,
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah,
people,
totally.
and I think people either, like, if they haven't woken up by 3 years ago, they're not going to wake up.
And they're actively trying not to. If you look at my comment section, you can see why they're not waking up, because they do the mental somersaults that a trans person does in terms of with reality. So the level of projection now is it's just getting insane, like just insane. Like they're actively trying to not see through deluding themselves with constant stories and lies.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are in a self-imposed coma. Like, they don't want to see it because I think the reality is too scary for them. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that,
Absolutely, totally.
yeah, I'm
And
not,
also, they're more interested in being right than the truth. They're
I,
so egoic that they've made such a strong stance, like I'm chopping my dick off and all this stuff, like to backtrack from there, or even just this is a good thing. To backtrack from there is then they've got to admit they're not right, and they just can't do that.
yeah, I mean, I think after COVID, like when I came back to Canada, like I've been back for a little over a year and a half now. And the difference in the country from when I was here before,
Wow.
I can't even wrap my head
Yes, and
around it.
you have such a great perspective because you literally left for the tyrannical time. So for you, it's like very apparent that you weren't boiling in the pan. You were before, after seeing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was the difference?
Um, I mean, where do I start, honestly? The massive influx of a certain group of people.
Pujees,
Sorry?
Pujees, Indians.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's been I think the biggest thing that I've noticed. And then just the the situation on the streets with the amount of people who are, I've never done drugs in my life, and I'm not judging people who do, like, whatever, but whatever they're putting in these drugs is destroying people, literally destroying them. Like, I see people like bent over, and it's
Yeah.
like they're frozen and they can't even get up, right?
But that one, the one beginning with F, that is
Oh
quite a
yeah.
new substance. So try and use the word substance instead of a D word if you can.
Yeah, sorry.
That is no, it's fine. That only came in around 2020, or certainly mainstream anyway. Did it not?
I don't know, honestly, but
I'm pretty sure it's a new one, and
yeah.
it literally turns people into zombies, doesn't it? It's just incredible.
Yes. Yeah. So I was shocked when I came back and I saw that, like, to the degree. I mean, there's always been an issue with substance here, in Canada. And then, of course, Trudeau legalized like ridiculous stuff. H in, like, BC was a huge problem when he legalized it. They're sitting outside of stores doing it, injecting and stuff, and it's just normal, and that's
I think
okay.
I can appreciate. I'm not sure what the best action is, but I can appreciate the argument that everything should be legal. But that doesn't mean it extends to you can do it on a street outside of a school. If you're making that argument, I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but if you are making that argument, what you're saying is we shouldn't criminalize people for being addicted. So, if they are an addict and they're partaking in their own home and they're not affecting anyone, we're not going to criminalize that. But there's a big difference between that and like a complete free-for-all where people are just doing it on the streets and there's no control.
Yeah. So my theory is that, I guess it's called a theory, I don't know. But I think people should have the freedom to, if they want to do it, okay, that's fine. But I do not believe that it should be pushed in your face. And I don't think, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's what's happening. And I think because it is a free for all, that's why we're seeing so much of it like out in the open, right? And
Of course,
there's,
because they've conned people with the nice side of legalizing it, because there are positives to that. I mean, Portugal were very successful with it, I understand, but they've used it to destroy the community. So they're not
yeah,
obviously they're not bothered about what they claim, which is being more humanitarian towards addicts. They're not bothered about that. They're using it to destroy the country, and all they would have to do is legalize it. But then if you do it on the streets, we don't even need to arrest you. We take it off you. Like, no addict wants their stuff taken off them. So then we stop doing it on the streets. Like, you know, it could still be quite softly and nice and not criminalizing without destroying the community.
yeah. I mean, I do think that there should be, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, whatever some of these people are doing, like you said, it's turning them into zombies, and I think maybe that needs to be regulated, whatever the hell that is,
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
come from the government. So this is, I mean, I think you know this, but like, you know, all the, you know, the substance dealers are the government,
yeah,
and they've created this one beginning with F because they want everyone to be zombies, and they want to end all the useless eaters that are no benefit to them anymore, like the people that can't work, the people that just take off the system. You know, it's time to
yeah,
end that from their point of view. And Canada's gone crazy with euthanasia.
yeah, made. I
And literally,
mean,
like, depressed 16-year-old were like, we think we should end you.
yeah, it's I mean, there's a lot of things going on here that I don't
Yeah, it's
know
really bad.
if a lot of people really realize. But MAID is, do you know that Canada is one of the, if it's not the top, it's like the second top country in the world for organ harvesting? Well, where do you think they're getting that from? I mean,
Well, yeah, from the maid, yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So that's up to China, presumably.
So do you know what? They did a census here. I hate those things, and I rarely, do anything, but they come and they just beat your door down basically to get the census done. And I looked at it, and all of the questions, like at the beginning of it, there were a whole bunch of questions. I don't know how many, like maybe 10. And it was all based around your health and your mental state and all of this stuff. And I'm thinking, how many people are being honest on this and saying, like, oh yeah, I have depressive thoughts sometimes. And then next thing you know, maid's going to show up at their door.
I
And
think so. That's where it's going, yeah.
yeah,
I do
so
think
like,
that's where it's going.
you never want to tell the government that, you're feeling depressed or something, because who knows what's gonna happen next, right? But
It was, so the UK are trying to take over YouTube basically and affect the algorithm. So they sent content creators a questionnaire. The UK government, obviously they didn't care about your answer, but they were, I mean, one, it was really long. Two, the questions were manipulated so that it was impossible for you to give a freedom answer. You had to agree with them basically.
yeah,
But then there was also this section where they wanted to know your mental health and all sorts. It was very strange because
yeah,
in my feeling is they shouldn't be asking that. That shouldn't have any bearing on, like, what are you going to judge the answers based on what someone said about their mental health? Like, why are you asking about their mental health? Why do you want? It seemed like that's what they really wanted to know, and everything else was just to get that.
well, exactly. And then during that whole COVID thing or whatever, there was something, and I don't know if this actually came into play because I left the country, so I can't say that it did 100%, but I'm pretty confident that it did, where the police have access to people's health records now. So that also is very concerning, right?
Especially with what happened in the 1800s and the mental asylums, and now they're pushing
Yeah,
the right wing, who are obviously useful idiots in terms of buying into capital punishment. Aside, like, so they make it so crazy. This is why they do fentanyl. So then people are like, yeah, we need mental asylums. We don't want to live around this. And then, as in the 1800s and in Cambodia under Pol Pot, people get put in the mental asylums for wearing glasses or for being
yeah,
in England, it was being religiously fanatical, which basically meant
yeah.
not lying about what you knew the past was.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think that's what they did when they they kind of rounded people up, right? I mean, it all leads into like orphan trains and whatever. And
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if my father was part of that. Sometimes I think about that.
In
So
terms of in a negative sense, or
yeah,
you
I
mean
mean, he
sorry, go
was
on.
a yeah, he was adopted. Like my father
Oh, you mean as
was,
in he was a victim?
yeah,
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 sorry, yeah.
I think so.
He was adopted. Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was
Hang on, your
supposedly,
father that wouldn't have been born. Your father would have been born in what, in 40s or something like that. That was after all
n-
this, wasn't it?
no, he was born in 1932.
1932. So was that all still going on? I feel like this. I could be very wrong. I feel like this was like all over by 1910, was it not?
No, no.
Oh no,
Have
because
you?
in the war they were sending orphans everywhere, weren't they? And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It went on for a very long period of time. And maybe, in some areas it was, more so over, but in other areas it was not. Have you ever listened to Guy Anderson?
Not that I'm aware of.
He knows a lot about that, a lot about it. And it's
I'll check him out.
he's very interesting. Yeah, he's from the UK. Where in the UK, I'm not sure. But yeah, he's actually pretty brilliant. I really like him. I listen to him a lot, and he goes into a lot of the other areas that I also have researched and looked into. I mean, I'm so crazy about all this stuff that like I even look into suits of armor. I don't believe that they use them in battles and stuff. It just logistically it's impossible. Number one, they can't see out of them. They can't move. They're heavy as shit, and I don't think that normal human men could actually fit inside them either. You
I
know,
think you're onto something. So what were they for, do you think? Or you
I
think it's
don't
just
know.
made up and they never were used?
No, I don't know about that. I think that there was something, but I have a bunch of different theories, and if I start getting down the rabbit hole, then I'm sure all your listeners will turn me off.
I
So
disagree actually, and we don't care. If we've got a pleb actually. We've got a proper pleb here who's trying to argue that fentanyl is so repressed and so deluded and so scared of the truth that when we talk about fentanyl negatively and the government pushing it, he has to try and make out that it's some sort of medical thing. I mean, it's just so pathetic. So I would say go down the rabbit holes, trigger these plebs, and let's get them fucked off. However, we've done almost an hour, so I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we can come back for all the rabbit holes and your spiritual journey and all that, if you wish to.
okay, sure.
Why did you go back to Canada?
So I have an adult child. I don't know if you call an adult a child or whatever. And they asked me to come back because they were going to be starting a family with their partner.
Oh,
Um,
right.
and then that didn't happen. So here I
Oh,
am. But I'm looking at leaving again. I actually wanted to talk to you and probably like off here or whatever a little bit about Cambodia because I am interested in maybe coming there and
you'll love
checking it out.
it. You know what you
Yeah.
experienced in Egypt with the buildings? I think maybe not quite as strong. I think Angkor Wat and the pyramids are very comparable in terms of what they do energetically. It sounds like there's a lot. Maybe I think there's a lot here. I don't know. I don't go outside. But it sounds like maybe there's more buildings in Egypt, possibly, but the same energy is here. And I think this is, I don't know about Egypt, but this is better. I just know this is better. Okay, no, that's a stupid sentence. I imagine this is calmer and more suited to what you want from life.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I don't want to be in a city. Egypt is very well, that's not true. Even in the villages, there's a lot of shit goes on. But honestly, Egypt is a pretty amazing place, and yeah, I love the people, the culture, the food, just every. The only thing, can I just say this? The only things that I don't like, there's three things about all of these countries that I've been in for a considerable amount of time. Been in is number one, noise. Number two, the animal abuse. I can't handle it. Like It drives me crazy. That's one of the big reasons why I left Giza. And then the other thing is just the shit show that you have to deal with getting visas and you know, renewing residency and all of that shit. It is a nightmare in a lot of these
Cambodia is
countries.
the easiest country I've ever been in terms of visas.
Thank
It's
God.
amazing.
Okay.
When you've experienced what you experienced in Asia, and I've experienced all around Southeast Asia, probably maybe not as intense as it sounds like it was in Egypt, but you know, it's not easy in Southeast Asia. And then you get to Cambodia and you're like, what? You're giving me 6 months and what? I don't need to leave the country to extend it. I mean, you can effectively live here for the
Yeah.
rest of your life without ever leaving the country.
Well, did you get it in Mexico?
Get what? A
Did you
visa?
get, yeah, well, residency.
No.
Okay.
No, I just got the standard visa, which I think is 3 months, if I remember right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a 5-year visa in Mexico.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, and it was good because you could leave the country and come back, and it wasn't void. In Egypt, you could get like a year residency visa or whatever it's called, and but you could get it, and then a month later decide you want to go to like Dubai for a weekend or something, and then it cancels it. It
Yeah.
voids your visa.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in Cambodia. I think the one I'm on, the cheaper one, it does, but you can get one, and you know, it's the difference between $200 and $350. It's nothing for over a year.
Yeah,
Then that's multiple entry. You can do what you want.
right. Okay.
So you went back to Canada, family reasons, and you want to leave for good now, or?
Yeah, like I wanted to leave 2 days after I got back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Well, let's chat over WhatsApp about Cambodia. I can tell you all you need to know.
sounds
It's
good.
been amazing, Helen. How's it been for you?
Oh, I love it. Like I
Your
said,
first live stream?
oh yeah. Hopefully I didn't screw up or, you know,
You've been
say things I shouldn't have
amazing.
said.
You've been amazing.
Thank you.
So let's see how it's received. And if you want to do it again, let's do it again. But it's been really nice connecting with you. And you have my WhatsApp, you know. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
chat.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who's listening. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, give love to Helen in the comments, please, especially if you want to see her again. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I just want to honor your courage. Your just how you show up in life, how you dealt with COVID, the fact that you just jumped on a live stream without asking any questions. You're amazing. We need more people like Helen.
Thank you.
And I want to do this with more people. So if you feel that you're courageous enough to get on camera and speak, then let's speak. Big love, Helen.
Thank
We'll see
you.
you again, I'm sure.
Bye.
Bye.